Hello, welcome back. So in this video, it's the coding sensei here. In this video, I'm going to be going over a few text editors that are popular, and I'm going to finish off with my favorite text editor, Visual Studio Code, and why you should use that text editor if you're not already using it. So when early on in my development career, I used a lot of different text editors. Um, I was using Atom for a long time, and then I used brackets for a little bit, especially when some of the tutorials that I was taking, they had a preference on text editors, and I didn't know that much about it, and it ultimately kind of confused me and led me down a path where I wasn't using a great text editor. And plus, over the years, since I've started, Visual Studio has advanced to a level where there's really no text editor that can compete with it. So um, let's begin, right? Okay, so we're going to start with brackets. So brackets is a modern text editor. It's easy to design in the browser. So I think the biggest benefit of brackets that I remember was that it had live reloading built in. So as soon as you made a change, it would reflect that change um, inside the web page that you're working on. Um, I would say that it's probably going to be more lightweight. And of course, if we look at, and the big thing with text editors is you want to look at the extensions that they're using. So there are certain extensions we definitely want. One of them is going to be Git. So we can of course integrate into GitHub, and we can make changes and push changes. And I'll have another video going over how to do that. And then of course Emmet, so that's going to be an autocomplete for HTML and CSS also. Beautify, which is going to of course make your code look good in the editor, have the correct for spacing and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and then file icons. As you kind of evolve as a developer, you're going to have, of course, different sorts of files that you're using, and there's going to be a little icon on the side that's going to show you what kind of file it is, and that's pretty useful to have. So brackets, it's doing okay. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of that, but so on to the next one. So Atom is a code editor from GitHub, if I remember correctly, and it's known as a hackable text editor. So I used Atom when I first started a lot. I would say that Atom overall is a pretty good text editor. I would say that, let's see here, so it has integration with GitHub. So it's coming up to the standards of modern text editors. So it's running on Electron. Yeah, Atom probably, I haven't used it in a long time, so I'm gonna say that it has a lot of the same features that look at that brackets and well, it's not good, that brackets and Visual Studio has. If you really want to, go ahead and use Atom. I'm gonna say that there's better ones out there, so let's move on to my favorite and the one that you should be using, right? So Visual Studio Code is the best text editor for a few reasons. Number one, it's the most people use this one, and it's probably the most modern, up-to-date of them all. When I was in school, I was able to use Visual Studio Code for using C++ and Java extensions. There really has not been a file or a code library, React, Vue, any sort of code, Visual Studio has an extension for it, and it works seamlessly. And then, as you can see, Visual Studio is combining with GitHub Copilot, which is a very useful thing to have. For you beginners out there, I suggest that maybe you wait on Copilot a bit just so you can learn how to um, build code. You know, Copilot is a little more for intermediate advanced users. And as you can see, code in any language. This is true. It works with web development. It works with Python. You know, software engineering. It works with everything you can imagine. It has huge amounts of extensions. They're very explanatory. They're very official. You can customize it. There's many ways to collaborate between team members with Visual Studio. And then of course, that thing called Emmet is actually built in already, as well as Git is built in. So it really has a full suite of things to use. You can build C++ games in this. You can build Python games. It really has all sorts of features. So if you haven't already, go ahead and download that. And it's totally free. Let me mention this, it's totally free, okay? As you can see, if you download it, we're going to go ahead and get this page here. Now, just a quick overview on how to use Git or how to use Visual Studio. I like to start with coming up to the top bar. I'm going to hit Terminal, New Terminal. So it's going to take me to my main folder, and in another video I can show how to use the terminal. I'm on a Mac, and then of course it has a source control feature where I personally like to use Git commands through the terminal, but it does have a way where you can, where it does have an interface here for Git and GitHub. And if you're not, like I said, I can explain it in a different video, but there are various ways to interact with Git and GitHub. And then of course it has a debugger. This is going to be for maybe you're debugging Java, you're using some other tools to debug things. And then of course our extensions. Of course I have a React extension, I have GitHub Copilot, I have IntelliSense, and I have support for JSX files right here. So as you can see, the features are cataloged very well. I'm using a, what am I using? I'm using a high contrast theme. So like I said, you can also customize the kind of theme that you're using. And I mean, this is really the best code editor there is. If you haven't used it yet, I suggest that you get on it. But going forward in my courses and in my tutorials, I'm going to be using Visual Studio Code, so you're going to get a better handle on how it's being used and worked. But step number one, download Visual Studio Code, and you won't be sorry. Talk soon. Hey there, I hope you're enjoying the content. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and stay tuned for more everything web development, everything IT.